Well, welcome back to Krown's Keto Cave. Waking up for a little bit of a later Saturday morning over here from Chicago, Illinois. Do want to wish you well on this nice start to your relaxing and perhaps even profitable weekend as well. And I do want to apologize because this video is a little bit later. I actually got my first good night of sleep in about a week and a half last night. If you're new to the channel, I just moved countries once again. Basically was living in Finland and Estonia for the past year and a half, 2 years. Then moved back on over here to Chicago. And still adjusting to the time. I actually fell asleep at like 6:30 or 7 last night. It was crazy. I just remember being on Discord and saying, "Hey guys, I'm going to bed now." And someone was like, "Hey, what the fuck, man? It's not even 8." And you know what? I really needed it because I do feel a lot better right now. So if you couldn't tell yesterday, I was certainly feeling a little bit exhausted, but finally starting to come back through. And I think that after about a week, probably do get used to the new time zone. So I've actually also been working on my computer as well during the morning hours and installed some new lights on it. Really happy about that. Although some weird things are going on with it right now because I can't, for whatever reason, I can't make all of them work. And as you can see right now, I think my Streamlabs, my streaming software is having some issues. So what I might be doing today is actually I might just try a different streaming software just because this one's so hit or miss. When it's great, but when it's not great, it's fucking annoying. So my camera's not working as an input right now. My mic's not working either. Just all bizarre shit happening at once. So with all of that said, we got plenty to talk about on good old Bitcoin as Bitcoin slumping down a little bit to our lower level supports. But there's plenty of trade opportunities, and I do believe that this weekend is going to be quite a fun one, depending upon your disposition, of course. So without further ado, I do want to wish you well. Do want to wish you the best, the happiest, as I like to say. As always, wish you well, and let's take this into the live scene. Initiate that good old teleportation. I'll see you in there, baby. I will see you in there. And there she is, Bitcoin and all of her big blown glory, as still consolidating overall. The greater picture is that of consolidation. Why do we know that? Or sorry, what kind of signals that? Well, this orderly drop off in volume right here is the biggest tip off. So everyone's looking at the same thing right now, right? We're looking all at a symmetrical triangle. There's no surprises here. It's a game at hand, and usually when everyone's looking at the same pattern, whether it be a symmetrical triangle, whether it be a head and shoulders, whether it be a fucking wedge or whatever it is, typically there's some fuckery that goes that is abound, and that's kind of what I've expect kind of what I expect with something like this. But if I'm just looking at this and again, to just kind of simplify this whole video down into basically 2 sentences, there are 2 major things that I'd be looking at for here. And holy fucking moly, what's up, man? Good to meet you, James Bond. I love James Bond. Good to meet you, man, and welcome to the cave, my friend. There's basically 2 sentences that can really sum up this whole video, and then we'll go into the ultimate mental masturbation. But break below the yellow 21 exponential moving average on the daily right here, and I'd be looking for a nasty move to the downside. First target would be somewhere right around 94 to 9,500, and probably lower over time. By the same token, if we do actually do the good old switcheroo right here and head back onwards and upwards and take out this local high right here at about 12.5, 12.6, then I would be looking at a measure move towards 14,500. Of course, because this is a symmetrical triangle, we are coming off of an uptrend. It statistically is a little bit more likely to break out to the upside. Of course, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, but we've been trending for the past 6 months pretty damn strong, and this is really the first time where I've kind of felt, okay, we have been in a decision phase for quite some time, and there are now some actual bearish things, staring us in the face. The biggest and most notably for me is actually the daily jewel right here. So daily jewel actually is giving, a decent-ish sell signal, if you want to call it that, as I put back on that right over there. Beautiful. It's not like a 100% perfect sell signal, not anywhere close, but it is actually a decent one. We are seeing that get a negative slope right now, but of course that is just one piece of the whole puzzle. And for me, while I do actually put the most weight on the jewel, everything else does tell me that hey, play your edge until the edge plays you. And what we're looking at right here, and what's up Merging, good to meet you, man. What we're looking at right here is, as long as we're holding up above this yellow 21, you can see that we're actually creating a series of higher wicks going all the way back towards 2nd of July. And for me, that's usually a clear and obvious sign that, don't front run yourself. I mean, a lot of people, I think the more gung-ho people, the more cavalier people are looking at this as a head and shoulders. This is not a head and shoulders. The volume signature is wrong, and also the shape is wrong as well. You can't have a higher right shoulder than the left. And of course, of volume also wrong as well. Smells wrong, tastes wrong, spits out wrong, fuck it wrong. Jesus Christ, man. I don't identify that as a Head and Shoulders, but what I would say is this right here. If this does break to the downside, we will have significant move to the downside, about $2,000. And while I do think that we'd bounce in the mid nines, we probably do actually head lower over time. Anyways, with that said, I just want to talk pure trading right here, and this is, and I think this is going to be a good example of probably where my trade is going to go against me, but this is technically good trading, and that is this. I will play that yellow 21 exponential moving average on the daily until my fucking dick falls off. And what I mean by that is for the last 6 months, or sorry, basically for the last 6 months, except for like a few small accumulation periods right here and right here, we've been, buying on the 21 has been a phenomenal do. And again, it works until it don't. And more importantly, I will take trades on this, as I have been taking trades off this for the past few months, as it's more likely to work out than it is not. And of course, if my point is here is that if that's going to be my edge, the last 6 months have been incredibly profitable, have been incredibly rewarding with this, and incredibly generous. So can I afford a loss if this one does go against me? Yeah, absolutely. And more importantly, if this does end up being a loss, I can just flip short. Again, it's a very clear and obvious signal of kind of like what the overall feeling of this current phase is. So if we do break this, then yep, I'm looking for a pretty hefty move to the downside. There will be bounces along the way. It's not going to happen in the span of 5 seconds. As I turn that off, make sure that that's working. Microphone also on, so that's good. Jesus Christ. Oh, by the way, sorry about the noise sorry about the sound last night. I had my gain turned up all the way to do a stream with K-Dub, which, by the way, go check out Crypto Zombie. We had a nice little video last night. Always enjoy talking with that guy too. He's just like you meet K-Dub and you feel like you've known him for a long time. He's a great friend, fucking amazing guy, and actually puts out daily content. So he's more focused on the news side. Of course, my thoughts with news, but like when you're interested in this space and you want to just know what the fuck's going on, that's a guy to go to. I mean, my 3 main guys with that sort of stuff is obviously K-Dub, Crypto Zombie, then FUD TV, Elliot, who I love as well, and of course Ivan on Tech, man, who's phenomenally amazing, but he's a little bit more like technical on the technicals. No, that's not what I mean. Technical on the fundamentals, if you want to call it that. He knows how to actually read code. He's a fucking he's like a boy genius, is what he is. Anyways, so what we're looking at right here, is going to be a great trading, a great trading lesson. And so I'll take this trade because it's worked so many times. It's worked so many fucking times. So can I take one loser if the last 6 months have been pretty much mostly wins? Well, absolutely yes. So I actually did take another long based off this area right here. For full disclosure, I am long on my streamer account. I'm basically neutral. I'm basically at break even, but I actually do have some option positions open against it right now, which cover it a little bit. I'll bring it up right on over here, and you do see that I'm basically short every fucking. If my mentor saw this, he would fucking ream me out and tear me a new one. But basically, I'm short. No, I'm basically only short the 11,000 strike, which is in the money. So I'm covered on 3 of these contracts. If we get back above 11.5, then I'll be covered on 18 of those contracts. So that's what I'd like. But still running a decent profit right here, decent P&L. Of which reminds me to kind of address an interesting tweet I got thrown at my way earlier. He's like, "Don't follow this guy. This guy buys when indicators are overbought." It's like, man, if I couldn't have thought of a better example of what not to think. And that's my point is, I'm going to always go with my edge, and the P&L is what I care about the most, not what the indicator says. The indicator can say all sorts of things. I don't care if something's overbought or oversold. That means nothing in a trending market. The indicators will stay overbought and stay oversold. I mean, if you looked at this and you said, guys, we're overbought right here. We need to come the fuck back down. I need to sell right now. Well, you would have missed all of this move from like 7,500 to 14,000, 2x basically. It's not until we get divergence where I start to really call tops, which we actually do get divergence between this point and this point right here, which is actually where I did call a top, to be fair, at 14,000 a few weeks ago. And then again, I didn't do a good job of calling this top. We called this top as a pullback, but pulling back all the way to the 21, I did not think that, to be fair. But again, this is why when we're kind of in a consolidation chop zone, I really like to lessen my overall trading activity. So I'm not really running any big positions, and for the most part, they're covered and in profit and just very very easy to manage. So if we do actually go back below this area right here and do break the daily 21, I actually will take it. I will end up taking a loss in this. I will not. What's it called? I will not like break even, or I fucking love it when people say that. Trade went against me, bros, but broke even, all good. It's like, okay, if you're doing like actual real trading, you're supposed to, like, you should have actual risk. It just kind of tells, it's just a little bit questionable when people say shit like that, because that's a part of trading. But like I said, I'm completely happy to take a loss on this one if that does indeed happen. But for now, I will long it just because, well, it's been so damn good. It's been so damn good to me for the past few months that I'm happy to put some more weight on it. So, and for now, it's actually okay. So I guess I am probably in profit on this one. Let's go back and check it out. And my streamer software being so weird right now. It's like, I can't tell if it's locking up or not. Hopefully this is working well. I'll have to work on it a little bit later. But yeah, a little bit in profit now. Not, on anything. Like I said, if we actually close the daily below the 21, not only will I take a loss in this, but I'll actually have to flip short, and I won't really flip short with spot or futures. What I'll do it with is with options. As you can see, I'm already kind of constructing a range there in anticipation if that does happen. So even then, losses will be limited. And actually, because with options, because options are so, well, what's a good word? So lenient. You can still actually turn around and make it a profit out of it. Anyways, with all of that said, we are getting pretty damn mature within this overall formation. We're about 69% full in this, which these things become extremely likely to break when you're about 69 to 75% full. And we're pretty much there. I'd say within the next day and a half, 2 days till today's the 13th. Yeah, I'd say right here on the 15th, we'd probably be right around there. So I would be looking for a breakage of this whole formation, probably in the next 2 days by the 15th, statistically extremely likely. Doesn't mean that it has to happen. I mean, shit, I've seen some that get like 90% full. It's possible, but when we're going off of statistics, pretty fucking likely. And more importantly, that's kind of telling me that, the next big move is on the way. That's also, remember, that's also kind of mediated by the volume signature right here, kind of tailing off. We're getting extremely low on this. And more importantly, and what I put a lot more weight on is the historical volatility percentile, which I'm going to show on the lower time frames right here, which is actually showing this, again, confirming this as a nice consolidation. So if this is going to be confirmed as a consolidation, as you see as on this nice orderly drop off right here, just fitting the trend line perfectly ever since we put in the highs, that does tell me that this is still one consolidation. So if you are judging this prematurely, I'd really be careful with that. I think kind of the overcrowded trade right now is actually to the downside. And then again, I don't really spend too much time around social media venues, so I don't know. Please let me know in the comments. So I don't actually know. Maybe the crowded trade is to the upside. I don't know. But from what I've seen thus far, it seems to me like more people are like, oh my God, we have to go down now, 8,500 gap. It's like, what the fuck did I just hear? Again, I come from traditional markets where we had gaps each and every day. It's not like a black hole that you get sucked into. It's more like if we get there, then there's a play to be made, but not really beforehand. Anyways, as you can see, even if I put this on a 12-hour, the whole formation actually changes drastically. We have something a little bit more like this, and if we were looking at a 12-hour like this, I mean, it kind of looks a little bit more like a potential ascending triangle in the making. So that would obviously be a little bit more of a bullish accumulation pattern, but that would also imply that we don't lose the 50 exponential right here. Even if we do lose a 50 on the on the 12-hour here, there would be support down around about 12.2, but that's going to start to break the daily 21, and I put a shit ton more weight on that, and I'd be realistically looking a lot further down. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now as far as the higher time frames go. Now let's go down into the crack trader mental masturbation time frames, which are fun. And what's up, Kawimba? Hopefully I'm saying that right, man. Good to meet you, man, and welcome to the cave, my friend. So yeah, looking at 4-hour right here, you can see that basically we're certainly on the lower end of this whole consolidation, as we saw on the daily. But when we look at a lower time frame, you can see that there's actually there's actually multiple levels within this region. If we do come back down to 11,000 on a 4-hour and actually break it on a 4-hour, then that's probably going to do it for me as well. Either a daily dodo below the 21 or the 4-hour closing below about 11,000, whichever one happens first. And I'd be looking for those more bearish targets. But for right now, still kind of in the middle of this region. So it's hard, it's really hard to front run these decisions, as we do see all of the momentum oscillators actually kind of disagreeing with each other. But slowly, the more time that Bitcoin goes sideways here, the more time that they just have to reset. You see the lower time frames, like they go around 1 million times, right? We see our hourlies back up to the upside, which, to be fair, they've actually been really good. And we do see historical volatility percentile on the hourly like fucking nil right now. I mean, this this is where you get some pretty massive move. I mean, shit, we could be looking at the big move today. We haven't been this low in this historical volatility percentile since 26th of May, which was this action right here, or sorry, leading up into this action right here. A nice little pump of about $1,000, or sorry, over $1,000. So I would be cognizant of that. This thing is fucking hot right now, man. We've been consolidating for about what 2-3 weeks? I think about 3 weeks now. So this thing is ever so likely to break actually. So yeah, hourly stokes are up. So if I did have call direction on the lower time frames, probably does pop back up and test around 11.5 region. What about the 2 hour? 2 hour also kind of being beheld in by the 200 exponential. But all this right here, I think is more just noise than anything. We're not really seeing these act in the way that you'd kind of expect. Even the 200 simple is taking on a different meaning right now. And I'll be presenting something new in just a second, but we do see 2 hour stokes coming to the downside here. So it's disagreeing with the hourly, essentially is what I'm saying. And then more importantly, the 3 hour and the 4 hour, the 3 hour stokes going to be down as well, which have been getting priced actually extremely well. And more importantly with the 3 hour, I want to talk about this for a second. So this is also a little bit more on the bear, or this would be on the bearish side to be fair. And I'm going to put two moving averages here. It's the white 200 simple and the purple 200 exponential. And you will notice that in the past, whenever we see, ever since we switched up the trend in what was it in what's this area called here, February, when it switched around, every time that we see the white 200 simple get above that purple 200 exponential moving average, we actually go into a little bit of a downturn and accumulation phase between these two moving averages. So example right here, dump big down after a nice consolidation, kind of sounds familiar, and reaccumulates along the purple 200, and then once we break back above the white 200 simple, well, glory times once again for about a $4,000 move. Then same thing right on over here, the white 200 simple gets above, sorry, let me actually explain this. So we're seeing the white 200 simple get above the purple 200 exponential moving average right here. Bitcoin actually has a move up, but ultimately it comes down to these two moving averages after we get that cross, and then once they cross, once Bitcoin breaks back up above the white 200 simple after breaking it to the downside, that's where your glory times are, and then they kind of switch back around for a bullish posturing. And then same thing right on over here, it tells you beforehand the white 200 simple crosses the upside of the purple 200, and we actually rally a little bit, and then boom, dump dildo down and destroying all sorts of bullish bungholes and collecting all sorts of stops, and then just reaccumulate actually below the purple 200 exponential moving average here, but again an accumulation phase nonetheless. And more importantly, once we break back above the white 200 simple, another $6,000 move. Then we did it then we didn't do it right here, but actually right now we do see that the white 200 simple has crossed the upside of that purple 200 exponential moving average. We did get that nice move up right and over here, and right now we're kind of holding on to these two moving averages, so we're getting a little bit of a different behavior here, to be fair. And that's what's kind of concerning me and throwing me off a little bit, because before we got the same thing right here. But before, when we get those, typically we come back down and at the very least test the 200 exponential, which would be all the way down at around 11,000, about 11,050. So, if we did have a dump back down around there, I would be looking at that as a small term bounce. But remember, it's a 4-hour diddle close below 11,000 or a daily diddle close below about 11.2, and I'd say that we have some actual problems with structure, and we're gonna likely initiate a move much further down over the next week, 2, whatever, however long it takes. That's something that I don't feel too comfortable with talking about. Anyways, 3 hour right here though is holding up valiantly above the white 200 simple. So could it also be that we already got it? I mean, technically we'd actually, to be fair, we actually did already test the 200 exponential moving average right here on that first big leg down. So did it already happen? Well, perhaps. I mean, this right here, if we can trade above the high of that last 3 hour dildo at about 11,439 on Mexico, then I would be looking for a move back up to 11,007 actually, about 11,650 to 11,700. So it is actually still, we actually still do see Boston algos defending these areas. So they're still on the buy side so far. They're still on the buy side. It's just, it does look a little bit weaker on the higher time frames. So I did think that that was appropriate to talk about, just because these have been such good indications in the past. I want to go over to do we want to talk about the 4 hour for a second here? Let's put back on all of these moving averages, by the way. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Too many. It's convoluted. Same thing on the 4 hour here with the historical volatility percentile. It's still kind of, below this moving average. We're still kind of consolidating is what it's telling me. Getting quite mature though, but not quite there just yet. Let's go over to the 8 hour. I haven't really checked out this guy. 8 hour does look droopy, to be fair. We do have a bearish cross of the red 10 simple and the yellow 21. Struggling to hold the 50, and it looks weak overall. Looking at 8-hour RSI, not a big fan of this one either. Not too good, man. It's not too good, not too bad. Still kind of consolidating is what it's saying. I'm looking at the jewel as well. The jewel is just, it's right in the middle. It's really hard to take trades off this area, when it's right in the middle. I just kind of like to avoid it. 12-hour, what is 12-hour looking like? 12-hour going to have resistance right around 11,625. We do see 12-hour stocks getting way down there, though. And these have been really good with getting overall price action. Called the top on the bearish cross right here. Called the last local low on July 3rd right here with across the upside. So it is getting kind of like the bigger ends of this consolidation better. The daily actually hasn't gotten it as well. So this one, if we did see that, if we did see this start to bottom out a little bit, then that could be another bit, another signal. But really don't want to see it lose the 50 exponential moving average right here. Again, multiple tests down into it, couple wicks above it. I think that this is the area of action. So if you are judging on a 12-hour, I'd say a 12-hour total close about 11,100 essentially. So there's multiple ways of really judging this next one. Of course, the daily is going to be the most conservative way, but also the most what's the word that I'm looking for? The most dependable, if you want to say that. I think I fucking hate using those words though, because it implies expectations, and expectations are just a bad thing to have as a trader. It's all about probabilities and statistics, statistical setups over time, but you do see it kind of getting some play over here. So I would say that, as long as we do hold this from a 12-hour perspective, that's okay. Daily would be the 21, 4-hour would be about the 11,000 region. So any one of those is okay. Obviously, the lower the time frame, the more aggressive it would be. So the more you kind of leave your bunghole open to potential dildos being thrown in of the opposing color, which would not be good. But for now, still kind of in a decision phase is the big point for me. If this is going to flip around to bullish, I'd imagine it does take its time. My God, man, what's up? Living Proof, good to meet you, man. Welcome to the cave, my friend. Jesus Christ, man, fun times in the cave, growing at a crazy rate. Which actually, I want to say a little bit of some about that as well. We did have kind of like a situation yesterday, which was quite eye-opening to myself, and I kind of want to follow up on that and say, hey, of course, as always, it goes without saying, my vocal expressions is never intended in any way to offend anyone. However, if you do find it offensive, if you do just think static words are offensive and it's not about intent, because again, for me it's about intent. So if I don't intend to offend, then I feel like you can say anything, right? You could say like, hey, go fuck yourself with the green dildo, you stupid bear or stupid bull or whatever it ends up being. And it's like, as long as you don't intend any sort of malice, it's fine, man. It's just an expression. But if you like say, I'm unsubscribing and I don't want to ever see you or your poopy face, and you like really mean it, and it's like it's intended to offend. I mean, that's I think, in my opinion, worse. It's actually a lot worse. You're intending negativity on someone, which, I mean, I don't really ever see a reason to ever do that. I mean, why? like why? It doesn't change anything for yourself. Anyways, so I noticed a lot of people yesterday perhaps weren't the most happy with some of my own expressions. But of course, I do want to remind myself, but also say, hey, if that is you, I kind of like that. You're 100% you're 100% free to listen to this content or not listen to this content. It's 100% free, right? I mean, it's free, and you are free in your own volition to follow it or not. That's all good, man. I'm just expressing myself here. That's all I'm doing, and that's why I'd say I can do it over time, because I'm not like filtering myself or anything like that. But more importantly, if that does sound like you, then yeah, it's all good, man. We can filter out some people from this from this channel, because at the end of the day, man, for me it's more important to cater to the people who have been here for a long time, and also the new people are coming here as well, but who kind of align with that same sort of thought processes, because that's who, it's just easier to get along with someone like that who just understands, in that sort of way. If that's not you, I mean, maybe this channel just isn't for you, and that's all good, man. That's all well and good. There's plenty of other channels out there that will I don't know, wipe your bunghole and tell you it's all going to be good and sing Kumbaya and hold your hand at night while the bears or bulls have their way with you, go in the opposite direction. So I always want to be very forwards and direct with that, just because for me it's important to cater to the people who kind of align with that and who've been here for a while. And if you're new here, which I'm sure a lot of people might be, And if you understand that, then hey, you're going to fit in completely perfectly as well. But I want to keep the community together. I don't want this community to devolve into like some sort of just god awful cesspool of fucking, I think bull, I think bear, that's offensive, no, go fuck yourself. No, it's like Jesus Christ, man. It doesn't cost anything to wish someone else well. So when I see that kind of shit going on in the comments, like, I'm happy that, I'm happy that those people kind of reveal themselves, because it keeps our community a little bit more organized, so we can actually identify, people who maybe aren't best suited to be here. Anyways, okay, I'll get off that tirade. Probably gonna even regret saying that later as well. And I do want to say massive thank you to the people who reached out to me and really offered up some great perspectives. I mean, holy shit, man, that was amazing. I really do consider a lot of people here like actual legitimate great friends, like fucking phenomenal friends, and who I'd probably love to meet in real life. Anyways, let's get back to the actual analysis before I tear myself into a deeper hole. Okay, so yeah, looking at 12-hour here, I mean, overall, it's still just consolidating. That's a thing. I still think it's a little bit too premature to get bearish on this. Looking at daily, of course, it goes without saying, as long as we hold the 21, it's okay. We actually even did regain the red 10 simple yesterday, but you could also make a more expedited decision on the daily if we do take out perhaps not yesterday's daily total low, but the day beforehand right here on the 11th, which was about at 10.927.5, then yeah, I probably would be looking, I'd probably say that that's also going to do it as well. So there's 4 ways of really looking for that next big break if it is going to happen to the downside. To the upside, obviously, we'll get there if it happens, right? But for right now, we're a lot closer to breaking to the downside. It goes without saying as well that daily RSI still just oscillating between the bullish neutral zone and the neutral zone. I mean, we're not doing anything crazy here, and the next big signal for myself would be if we actually got the RSI back above the exponential. That would be the clear and obvious signal that we're going to be headed back up and kind of test back into the bullish control zone once again. So we still do have daily Stokes to the upside, which they are getting actually right around the bullish control zone. You do see a little bit of weakness here, so it's really going to be decided probably by the end of the close today. I'd say that it's going to be quite insightful. For right now, it's mostly mental masturbation. Let's go to the 2-day, which actually does look bearish to me. We have a massive bearish engulfing dildo right here, and while we don't have follow through just yet, which would confirm it, which is needed to confirm it, this looks like we are getting rejected from the 10 simple, to be fair, right? And the next target from this perspective would be down here at about 10.3. That's obviously going to break the daily formation, and would lead to an avalanche of effects of lower prices. But I just want to show it's certainly not all roses right now. In the way that it's kind of like resolving itself, and I do believe that we set this one in later tonight. Yeah, we do get another 2-day dildo later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. 2-day Stokes actually kind of snaking around right now. So if Bitcoin does close anywhere above about 11, I'd imagine 11.6 end of day, then we actually will cross these guys to the upside, and that would be obviously considered good. Last cross that we had to the upside was right over here on 12th of June, leading up for this about $4,000 move $5,000 move from 82 to mid 13s. So again, I don't think that it's appropriate to front run these things just yet, because the implications are very, very massive. We're coming to the culmination of a pretty big consolidation, one of the biggest consolidations that we've had in months. So I want to be respectful of this, because again, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and I will, I'm happy to ride that as much as I can. Looking at 2-day RSI, it's kind of looking like the daily just oscillating again between the bullish neutral zone and the neutral zone. I don't have a huge issue with it just yet. Looking at 2-day Jewel, kind of at a support region as well. Let's go to the 3-day for a second. 3-day as well, kind of still holding all major moving averages. I can't be bearish. I can't be bearish when I see us holding all major moving averages. It's just a big fucking no-no. It doesn't mean that it can't happen, but I need to see proof first before actually realign. I mean, how many times on this uptrend have we heard people say head and shoulders right here, head and shoulders right here? Whatever I don't know what people are saying right here. Probably like the bearish elf foot right here. I fucking hate that pattern. We're going down to 3,000 now, bitch. It's like, okay, fair enough. But again, I look at this right here, and that's pretty damn cut and dry. Now, if we did take out the last 3-day dildo low at again 10.927.5, actually it's the same one as our last big daily, then yep, I would be looking for a move actually down here to the 21, which would align with the measure move off of the symmetrical triangle to the downside if that does get initiated. 3-day Stokes coming down. They're actually going to be testing the edge of the bullish control zone pretty damn close. Again, we do see the signature many times in the past, which actually does typically align with some flooding of price action, but still too early to to call in my opinion. We do see 3-day jewel really taking a nosedive, but this should be a support area right here. And do we get a new take on this tonight? No, we do not. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, along with the weekly, which while we're here, let's just talk about the weekly. Weekly is looking weak. Looks bad, man. Yes, we are above all major moving averages, but this is a pretty massive wick to the upside. Would be technically a bear wick, and also considered a rejection of the top 200 band right here. Of course, there's still a day left to go on this, so I would say the next big obvious signal would be if we actually do close this next weekly dildo above 12.3, the top of these 200 bands, and that would incite that continuation to the upside into target would really be 14,500 first target, and then actually probably around 16,000 would be second target. I'm gonna sound like a complete fucking moron bull, but it's, I mean, that would be what I'm looking for if that were to happen. Of course, we're pretty far away from happening from doing that right now. About $1,000 away, a little bit less than $1,000 away. So you know, is it likely to happen from this area? Not necessarily. We do see weekly SOS coming down as well. And really, the most bearish thing for me is most alts look fucking god awful. So usually we see this market kind of move together, and I would like to see this market move together. You know, whichever side it's going. But Bitcoin's still in a decision phase, while most alts are kind of, you know, drooping down, falling off. And I would say that, you know, if they're doing that, that's not the best signal. As, oh, nice, I have another USB thing here. Good. Looking for one of those. I need more plugs in this place. Motherfucker. But I'm almost done setting up. Man, it's so fucking satisfying to set up this studio. My God, man, it's like everything I've ever wanted and more, but it's not done just yet. So it's getting close. Anyways, do we have any divergence on the weekly just yet? How high did we get here? We got up to a 79.29. How did we get here? 79.3. So no, we actually got higher in this region. Yeah, okay, so just a hair below, but Jesus Christ, I mean, I'd still consider this divergence. No, this would be divergence, yes, this would be divergence. So if the weekly does close basically here or lower, yeah, if we close anywhere below about 11.5, we actually will have divergence, bearish divergence on the weekly, and that would at the very least insinuate a target down here towards the 10 simple. That would be that 9,500 target, and if things get a little more nasty, I'd be looking at a move down towards 8,000 actually to test the 21. So again, there are bearish things in this, you know, in this region, but just for me to actually switch around to realistically looking for that, I need to see a few things first, which are getting closer and closer to happening, to be fair. Of course, I always do want to remind myself that higher time frames are still, you know, pretty fucking bullish. Here's monthly right here. Monthly actually testing the top side of the 200 bands once again. And to me, it looks like we want to test the top of the 200 bands, you know, overall. We do have monthly Stokes massively gaining momentum to the upside here, getting out of the bearish control zone for the first time since June of 2018. We do see the red 10 simple actually converge on the yellow 21, which would incite that trend is strengthening to the upside, which you already know that. Just a lower period getting above a higher period if it does happen. We do see monthly jewel crossing the upside for a small buy signal, but not a crazy one. That happened last month, to be fair. And then remember, the monthly range is going to be massive, so we could actually afford a move back down to 95 or even 85 and still have overall good posturing. And then of course monthly RSI, I also want to present this as a little bit more on the bearish side. We do see monthly RSI getting into the bullish control zone. Good, right, kind of. Well, the last time that we did something like this, Bitcoin was living, you know, away from the bullish control zone for a long time in 2014, 2015. It gets in there and immediately has a retracement all the way back down around the exponential, which was this retracement right here. Where was it? It was, yeah, this guy right here. So about a 35 to 40% retracement. Which would be pretty nasty. I'm just curious how this would look like from this current area. What's 35% off this price? Is that down around? Oh, it's down around, you know, low 9,000s, about 92 to 9,500. So that actually would match up with that measure move. If we were to go a little bit more bearish, 8,500, yeah, would also make sense. So, you know, those would be major buy areas for me as well. I really want to be very direct in saying this. I'm not looking for like super. If Bitcoin even does turn down here, I wouldn't get super bearish as long as we're essentially above 8,000. I don't really see any major reason to get super bearish. The reason why I say that is because this trend line right here, seems to be the area of operations, which I'll put on really, really briefly. Let me actually take these guys off. There we go. This dotted trend line that the red arrow is pointing towards, damn good indication of what phase of the market cycle we're in. When we're below it, it's like an accumulation phase. Any buys below it are amazing. Any sells on the trend line are, for the time being, pretty damn good. But once we break back above and confirm above, glory times one, glory times two, blow off your top and come back down to that same trend line for the next couple of years, and blow off your top once again, come back down and actually break it right on over here, and then we have the same thing. Pretty much the exact same area right here. You go to accumulation below, all buys below this area, pretty damn good and pretty damn protected, and we broke back above it on the move above the 7,000, also confluent with the 618 right here, and glory times for Bitcoin, and we actually based on it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, so it does tell me that this is actually getting play here, and this would be a good base of operations, and that means, again, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't break below it ever again. I mean, in fact, we do see that happening in the past. Bitcoin taking off here. Is this position actually making some money? Nice. Wow, 0.5 Bitcoin, great. Sorry, not. And what's up, Steve? Good to meet you, man. Welcome to the cave, my friend. Yep. So overall, to me, if Bitcoin did break back down below it, then we go into another phase of accumulation. But for now, I think that we're bouncing, and we're actually gonna put in some time here. The more time that Bitcoin goes sideways, the better for the bulls. If Bitcoin actually shoots down and smashes through this area, then yes, then I'm happy to turn a little bit more bearish. But for now, I still have my permabull hat on, just because, well, it's been so fucking generous, and we haven't really gotten like full on signals just yet that that's ending. We've gotten some short-term signals, but not on the higher time frames, which do count the macro trend. Anyways, this trend line as a base would be coming in now at current trajectory at around about 8,200, 8,500. So if you do recall, we still do have the last gap on CMEs back on over here at about 8,500 region. So if things did get pretty bad, that would be kind of like the last Mohicans for me, and also kind of fulfill a retest of that trend line. Which do we retest this trend line often after breaking it to the upside? I mean, going back into it, no, it wasn't. I mean, once we broke back above it right on over here, it wasn't until about 2 years later that we actually tested it in 2015, and then we tested it multiple times, but held up valiantly above it each and every time. So that's kind of my point, and that's why I'm really backing off from being bearish. I just think that that's kind of the crowded trade right now from what I've seen. Let's put on the trolling bands just for a second. I'm curious what they're saying. Let's take everything else off. Yeah, we do have another rejection from the top, but we are above the median, so not really telling us too much. Just kind of floating in space, mon. See, volume profile here. Volume profile shows some activity around probably around the 8,500 level, if I had to guess. Oh man, it shows it right around 95 and 85. What is that? Is technical analysis actually making sense for us for a second here? Sometimes this hocus pocus bullshit actually works. But yeah, you can see that we're kind of on the last of the higher value nodes here. In fact, if Bitcoin can maintain some, especially a weekly closure above, I'd say about 12,000, this thing can really fly. There's going to be an area of interest right here at about 14,000, as you can see, and then of course the next big one is actually going to be about 16,500 from this bull trap right here. Anyways, I did forget to do one thing that I wanted to do. Let's go back on over here. Let's take this guy off. Put the drawing tools back on, and yeah, put on the fib. So this is a Fibonacci retracement from the ultimate high to the ultimate low. Very, very simple stuff. We do see that essentially we're just oscillating between the 0.5 and the 618. This is good insight on what the bots and algos are doing as well, because what's happened so far is we came all the way up to the 618. It is a sell target. That's why we said it's likely that we put in a high right here, and we did. Again, not trying to sound arrogant when I say something like that. It's just now you can do it for yourself. You see how it operates. Then we come all the way back down basically to the 382. So that's going to be a bot target. They're going to be selling this area. They're going to be targeting this area. Okay, now is where the game begins, because as long as we hold the 0.5, that would actually be considered massively fucking bullish from like an algo perspective. If we just kind of oscillate between the 618 and the 0.5 and consolidate there, that's your next target's going to be basically 16,000 for the long term. Remember, this is not happening today or tomorrow or the next day or even like a month or two, but down the road. So yeah, I did want to show that. I guess we'll briefly look at the other top shitcoins for a second. I've gotten a lot of requests to kind of stop doing the other altcoins, and honestly, I kind of agree with that. I think it is worthwhile to look at like the top ones though, just because looking at Mr. Budor right here, he looks sick. To be fair, he does look sick. If we even take out 261 spot 10 to the downside, I'd be looking for a move likely down here to 225. Not the best chart going on right now. Daily Stokes just crossed back down to the downside. We're about to see a bearish cross the red 10 simple in the yellow 21. But could it be that we're just creating another higher low right now? We actually dig in and do something like this? Maybe. Possible. Likely just going to follow whatever Bitcoin does. I'd imagine if Bitcoin picks it up here, you're going to see Mr. Buteral and insert nameless coin here as well. But you know, if it does tick back up, I'd say target going to be somewhere right around about 290 and then $300. But again, likely just going to follow Bitcoin. Weekly does look pretty bad, to be fair. Well, should I say that? I mean, we've just come back down and tested the red 10 simple. Here's what I could say. From a longer term perspective, if we do close tomorrow's weekly doodle below the 10 simple at 266 and a quarter, I'd get very bearish for a move actually down here to 230 and maybe beyond. We'll talk about it if we get there. But for right now, we're actually holding up above it, and again, makes it a little bit more difficult for me to get bearish when we have that staring us in the face. Let's go over to Mrs. Litecoin. What's this bitch doing? Yeah, holding up above the yellow 21. So you know, I still do think that we probably piece together a little bit more of a bounce here. I mean, 4 hour looks like it wants to take another leg back up to 105 and a half. And if we actually take out this local high right here at 107, then I'd be targeting a move towards 111, 110 and a half to 111. And then this would look just like, you know, like a little bit of a base. Looking at the daily looks bad, to be fair. Daily does look bad. Any sort of move below this wick at 92 and a quarter, and I'd be looking for moves much lower towards 87. Yeah, about 87 to $86. Would not look good. But again, gonna follow whatever Bitcoin does most likely. I'll briefly, I want to look at Link, because Link actually does do its own thing. I like what Link's doing here. I think that it probably does work its way back up towards 31,000. I think it's putting its own consolidation. I think it's more likely than anything. It's just kind of oscillating within this range, but I do think that the next move is up. We did regain the 21. We do see daily Stokes down the whole way as we regain a major movement average. I like that. And daily RSI just, you know, again, going between the bullish control zone and the neutral zone. It's fine. Cardano for a second. Do we have any sort of bullish divergence here? Actually, getting close. I actually do think that it makes a move towards 640. Let's just go look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. That's going to do all the altcoins. They pretty much all look the same. And sorry, I don't mean to sound racist. Like, they all look the same, and they're lazy, and they need to get fucking jobs. They took our jobs. Just kidding. Just kidding. Wow. Where did that come from? Jesus Christ, man. You know, am I still bullish on the Bitcoin dominance chart? We're getting pretty close. We got damn close to that measure move off of this formation. Officially had it at about 69, and we got up to 68.59. So pretty fucking close. My point is that I actually would be looking for a local top on this relatively soon, and that's likely when most alts will put in lows versus Bitcoin and rally up. But I'm not sure I'd be on that same side just yet. Yeah, you know, the weekly still looks like it's going to try a little bit, and of course the monthly as well, getting to the next level. Anyways, we checked out Litecoin. Yeah, I think I'll just keep it to those big three, and kind of close it off there. Maybe we'll look at Ripple, because I know a lot of people like to look at Ripple. Ripple me nipples 33.7. Yeah, this is not looking good from the monthly perspective. Now we actually broke last month's low. Didn't want to see that one happen. We actually open and close a daily doodle below the 200 simple. I mean, here's what I can say, man. I can't be bullish on this thing as long as we're below the 200 simple on the dailies. It doesn't mean that we can't get back above it, but I wouldn't be holding my breath until we do that. If we can get back above it at about 35 cents, and yep, I'd be looking for a move back up towards 38 cents region and probably beyond. But for right now, looks to me like kind of wants to come down and test this lower level of a base down here between about 30 cents and 28.5 cents. Kind of nasty, man. Pretty nasty girl. Nasty ripples. Anyways, back on to Bitcoin, and we'll wrap it up like this. Super simple on the lower time frames, or even on the higher time frames too. Lower time frames kind of do look like they want to. Do I want to stick with that? I don't feel all that confident on the lower time frames. We are right at resistance right now, to be fair. Got up to 11,475. If we do take out this area, I'd be looking for a move back up towards here, actually about 11.7. But again, I think the better thing to do now is again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. SEC, if you're listening, go fuck yourself. Just kidding. I live in America now, so I'm just kidding. Definitely kidding. Leave me alone. They have a very long and powerful pinoir, so I'd like to not fuck with them. Anyways, I'm fully compliant with all governments and all laws, by the way. So all jokes aside, hopefully, I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. Anyways, at the end of the day, it's really no more complicated than this right here, and this is what it all comes down to for myself. One massive symmetrical triangle. If we do close below the daily 21 at 11.2, then I'd be looking for a move down here towards this 11.4, 11.5 target. If we do hold up above, as the 21 has been such a good boy and good actor for the past few months, which I'll still be holding on to a trade on. Then it offers the potential over the next couple days to pop back up towards 12.4, 12.5, and if we actually do take out 12.5, 12.6 to the upside, then I'll be targeting a move towards 14.5, and basically just continuation onwards and upwards for the coming months, of which long term I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. So with all of that said, I do want to wish you all on this lovely little Saturday morning over here from Chicago, Illinois. I'm going to be signing off now. I'm going to be going on to set up the studio a little bit more, hopefully figure out what the fuck was going on with my Streamlabs, and take care. See you soon.